Hey you guys, what's up? In today's video, I'm going to be trying out the brand new KVD Beauty Good Apple Concealer. I am so excited to try this out for you guys today. I will be showing you guys this concealer up close. I'll be doing swatches of this concealer next to some of my other concealers so you guys can see how the shade that I picked up looks compared to some other concealers. And then obviously I'm going to be doing a wear test where I will be showing you guys close-ups of the concealer. So I hope you guys are all excited about today's video. If you are, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to do is close-ups and swatches of the Good Apple Concealer. So this is the new KVD Beauty Good Apple Lightweight Full Coverage Concealer. I picked mine up in the shade Light 105. So here's what the packaging looks like. I think it's interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about the top of it because, I don't know, I thought it was going to be like a dropper style bottle, but it's actually like a doe foot applicator. So I thought this was an interesting choice for packaging. So this concealer is supposed to be an extreme long wear crease resistant concealer with the same hydrating lightweight full coverage formula as the KVD Beauty Good Apple foundation. It says that it has an undetectable feel and has a natural skin-like finish. It's ultra concentrated, crease resistant coverage. The applicator is supposed to mimic your fingers for precision and a soft touch feel. And the price of this concealer is $28. So now I'm going to show you guys the shade Light 105 swatch next to some of my other concealers so you guys can kind of see where this shade is compared to some other concealers from other brands. So here is the KVD concealer in the shade 105. Next we have CoverGirl True Blend Undercover in the shade L100 Fair. So this one is a lot lighter. Then we have the Tarte Ultra Creamy Shape Tape in the shade 12N. Here is the same concealer in the shade 16N. I think that one's probably the closest so far to the KVD one. Next we have Too Faced Born This Way, and this is in the shade Swan. I feel like those look pretty similar as well. Then we have Marc Jacobs Extra Shot. This is the shade Light 120. Then we have regular Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Fair. Benefit Boing Cakeless Concealer in the shade number 2. And ColourPop Pretty Fresh in the shade 10N. So here is the KVD one next to all of these other concealers. Honestly, I do wear all of these concealers. It just kind of depends on whether or not I have a little bit of self-tan, but for the most part, these are my more like fair concealer shades. So if you wear any of these shades, you could probably get away with making the shade 105 work unless you were like super fair, like these two concealer shades right here. Then it might be a little bit dark, but the other ones, I think if you're around those shades, it would work well. So now that we have gone over all of the claims and the swatches of this concealer, let's go ahead and try it out on the face. All right, so I'm completely barefaced. I'm just gonna do my makeup as I would normally do. I really wanted to use the Good Apple foundation, but I only have one shade, and I'm pretty sure that came out in like the summertime. So it's like a super dark shade, and right now we're in the winter, and I'm like so pale. So I'm just going to apply a hydrating primer really quickly. I'm going to do my makeup just as I normally would do it, and I'm using the ColourPop Pretty Fresh primer because I just really like this one. And then for foundation, I think I'm going to use the Catrice True Skin foundation. I've been really enjoying this one. It is a little bit dark for me right now as well, but I can make this one work like more than the Good Apple one right now. And this is also a hydrating foundation. I am just like so dry right now because it's so cold outside. So I'm like trying to use all hydrating products. And I feel like this foundation like goes a long way. It's a really good, affordable foundation. So now it is time to go in with the Good Apple Concealer. I am also going to apply this the same way I normally apply concealer, which is I put a little bit in the inner corner and then a little bit on the outer corner. This is apparently like super full coverage, so I'm kind of like nervous to put a lot, and I know that if you have more mature skin, a little bit goes a long way because I used to use a ton of concealer and it would just make my under eyes look like even more wrinkly. Like I'm almost to my 30s, so I'm starting to get like some wrinkling underneath my eye. So I have to be a little bit more mindful now about how much concealer I apply. So I'm actually like very curious about how this is going to go. I feel like the shade actually looks lighter than I thought it was going to. When I first got it in the mail, I for some reason thought it was going to be too dark, and I'm so glad I didn't buy the lightest shade because I almost bought the lightest one. I believe this is the second lightest shade, and I feel like it is still a little bit light, so I almost wish I would have gone one shade darker. So it seems to blend easy. It definitely has a thicker formula than I was expecting, and I almost feel like it dries down a little bit quickly. Maybe it doesn't blend as easy as I thought. Yeah, the second eye I'm struggling a little bit more to blend because I put them on at the same time, so this one was sitting here for like a minute or two before I started blending it, and it definitely started drying down a little bit. So I normally use an under eye corrector because I do have some dark circles. I am noticing that I can still see my dark circles through the concealer a little bit. I feel like it did feel thicker when I was blending it, but it looks very thin now that it's blended out, like on the skin. It definitely looks more natural than most full coverage concealers, but I'm not sure how I'm feeling about the coverage right now. Like, I almost want to add more, but then I feel like I'm gonna start looking like cakey. I don't know. Maybe I might apply like a little bit around my nose because I feel like my foundation does not look like very good right there. So let's just see if we can add some more here. See how much coverage we can get. I might blend like a little bit upwards towards my under eye just because I feel like they're a little bit, I don't know, not as covered as I would normally like. I'm not sure how I feel about it before it's set. It actually like does, for the most part, look like pretty natural. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and like set my face and maybe finish up my makeup, and then I'm gonna come back and show you guys like up close what it actually looks like once it's set with powder. Maybe it'll look a little bit better once it's set. So I'm gonna do that and I will be right back. All right, so I went ahead and finished up my makeup. Honestly, I'm liking it more now that I have set my entire face. Like, when my face was not set, I was not sure how I felt about it. I thought it looked just, I don't know, like a little bit strange. I do want to show you guys a close-up, so I am going to move the camera up close so you guys can really see how the concealer looks underneath my eyes. All right, so here we are, very close and personal. I feel like the concealer does look pretty nice. Like, it looks pretty natural. Obviously, I have under eye wrinkles, so it's not going to look like super like smooth and flawless, but I feel like for the most part it looks pretty good. My only issue right now after doing all of my makeup is that I feel like you can still see my dark circles, but I might just be a little bit picky because I always use an under eye corrector like every day before I do my concealer, and I didn't do that today because I really wanted to see how much the concealer could really cover my dark circles. But honestly, I always feel like concealers don't cover my dark circles enough, which is why I always use a color corrector. So yeah, I feel like the concealer definitely looks very natural even though it does have good coverage. So yeah, it's not really settling into my fine lines right now. It did start going into my fine lines before I set it with powder, so you will have to blend out with your sponge pretty quickly and then go in with your powder, or it will start to crease if you do have under eye wrinkles. I found that it did start creasing like pretty quickly, but honestly, every concealer that I use creases in my under eyes pretty quickly, so it wasn't really any different than any other concealer that I use. So yeah, I'm pretty happy that I'm liking it more now that my makeup is set. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I would love to hear how you guys think it looks. So yeah, I am definitely liking it more now that I have done all of my makeup. As I said, I wasn't sure how I felt about it when I was first applying it. I thought it was like a little bit hard to blend, and I felt like the coverage was not that great, which I have already talked about a couple of times. I feel like it could be a little bit better, but that might have been because I didn't apply enough, because I was worried about putting too much on, because if you have any kind of like texture under your eyes or wrinkles, if you put a lot of concealer, it's just going to make it look like 10 times worse. So that's why I only went in with a little bit, but I do feel like the concealer looks nice so far. So I'm going to go ahead and wear this for the rest of the day, and then I'll be back to give you guys like a final update later on. Okay, and we are back. Here is how my makeup is looking so far. I haven't touched up my lip product. I haven't touched my makeup at all, actually, and I think that the concealer looks pretty good. So even though I was like not feeling it at first, I feel like it's growing on me, and I will say that I walked out of my filming room because I have all these like studio lights on me, and once I was in like natural lighting, I feel like the concealer looked so much better, and I wish I could show you guys, but it is dark outside now, so I can't do that, and I wish I would have taken a video on my phone. But like outside of here, it looks so much better. I feel like it looks very natural underneath the eyes in like regular lighting. So really quickly, let's do a close-up of the concealer so you guys can really see how it's wearing. So here is a close-up of how the concealer is looking right now. Still, you can see see, obviously, that the coverage was not that great in this area, but the wear is actually like really good. So I'm actually very impressed with it. Like on my nose right here, it's still like on there pretty good, but I feel like once it started getting, I don't know, like I touched my face a lot, it did start looking a little weird in this area, but the concealer is still definitely there. So I do feel like the formula is a long wear formula, which is amazing. I still feel like it looks really good underneath the eyes. On this eye though, hopefully you guys can see, it did start to like sink into my fine line right there. Like I really hope you guys can see that. There is like concealer like kind of caked in my fine lines on this eye only, which may have been like my fault. Maybe I didn't set my under eye as good on this eye, but it definitely is looking pretty like, I don't know, cakey, at least in my fine lines. But actually like under my eye, it doesn't look too bad. It did start coming up just a little bit in this area, which is where I normally have my concealer come off. So I'm not very like shocked that it came off in that area, but for the most part, I think it looks pretty good. It definitely is wearing longer than some other concealers that I have, so I am pleasantly surprised with that. So yeah, based on my first impressions, I think the Good Apple concealer is going to be just as good as the Good Apple foundation. I actually really liked that foundation. I know a lot of people either like loved it or hated it. I personally really liked the foundation, and I feel like the concealer is just as good. It's definitely a very long wearing concealer. It does have a full coverage feel to it. It does dry down pretty quickly, so I would say do one eye at a time. I just felt like this eye did not blend as well once I had it sitting there for a while, and sometimes with concealers I actually like to let it sit because it makes it a little bit more dry and full coverage, but typically I wear like a very like hydrating type of concealer, and this one's just not as hydrating as some of my other concealers, but it definitely doesn't feel dry under the eyes. I would say it's more of like in the middle between like matte and then like super hydrating. I'm pretty sure this has like a satin finish, I believe is what it said, and it definitely looks very like skin-like, so I actually really like that. Based on my first impressions, I think the concealer is really good, and I cannot wait until you guys get this concealer and try it out. I would love to hear what your thoughts are, so if you guys have tried this out, go ahead and leave me a comment down below and let me know what you guys think, or if you are planning to pick it up, I would love to hear your thoughts. I will have this concealer linked in my description box below. It's going to be launching at Ulta, I believe February 1st, but I did go ahead and purchase this on another website, which I'll link in my description box below as well, so you might be able to get it now. So yeah, for now, I'm going to give this product a thumbs up. I think it's a pretty good concealer. I do think I forgot to mention how much is in here. It is 10 milliliters in here for $28, so that's pretty typical, I would say, for kind of like a high-end concealer, because my Tarte Shape Tape right here is also 10 milliliters, and I believe it's like $20-something as well. So yeah, not a bad price for a high-end concealer with how much product you're getting. The packaging is not my favorite, but the concealer itself was pretty good. So yeah, that is it for today's video. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I am going to continue testing out this concealer, and I will keep you guys updated. I'll probably post more about it on like TikTok or Instagram or something like that, or sometimes I will just use it more often in my videos if I'm really liking it. I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. If you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Also, make sure you have your notifications turned on. That way you don't miss out on any of my future videos. All you have to do is click the bell next to the subscribe button, and then you'll receive a notification every time I upload a new video. And I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.